The Epstein list, how Thomas Massie's question destroyed Kash Patel's FBI career. The question was simple, direct, the kind of question that shouldn't require more than a yes or no answer. Director Patel, will you commit to releasing the full list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients to the American people? Congressman Thomas Massie sat in the House Judiciary Committee hearing room, staring across the table at FBI Director Kash Patel. It was May 8, 2025. Patel had been in office for just 4 months, and in the next 3 minutes and 47 seconds, his entire tenure would unravel on live television. Patel shifted in his seat. His lawyers leaned in to whisper. The camera zoomed closer. And then he said, the 7 words that would trigger the biggest political scandal since Watergate. I cannot answer that question at this time. The room erupted. Journalists started typing frantically. Twitter exploded. Within minutes, SHOCKS Epstein list was trending worldwide. Because everyone watching understood what Patel's refusal meant. He was protecting someone. And Massie was about to prove it. But to understand how one congressman destroyed an FBI director in less than 4 minutes, you need to know the story behind the story. The real history of the Epstein client list. Who has it? Who's seen it? And why Kash Patel would risk everything to keep it hidden. The list that shouldn't exist. Jeffrey Epstein died in August 2019. His case was officially closed. His estate paid out hundreds of millions to victims through a compensation fund. The story, for most Americans, was over. But investigators knew differently. When FBI agents raided Epstein's Manhattan mansion and his private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, they found something extraordinary. Detailed records of nearly everything. Flight logs documenting every passenger on his private jet. The infamous Lolita Express. Phone records showing thousands of calls to hundreds of different numbers. Financial records tracking payments to dozens of young women. And most damning of all, a handwritten ledger kept in a safe in Epstein's study, listing names, dates, and locations. The ledger was 84 pages long. It contained 173 names. Some were obvious: Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, pre-presidency, prominent businessmen, scientists, politicians. But others were redacted in court filings, their identities hidden behind Jane and John Doe designations. Why? Because many of them were never charged with crimes. Some had merely flown on Epstein's plane for legitimate business. Others had attended parties where nothing illegal occurred. The Justice Department's position was clear. Without evidence of criminal activity, they couldn't release names and destroy reputations. It was legally sound and morally infuriating. Victims' advocates demanded full transparency. Investigative journalists filed FOIA requests. Conspiracy theorists claimed everyone from Hollywood celebrities to Supreme Court justices were being protected. The Epstein client list became America's most wanted document, second only to JFK assassination files. And then, Kash Patel became FBI director. The promise Patel made and broke. During his confirmation hearings in January 2025, Patel was asked directly about Epstein files. Senator Dick Durbin posed the question, will you commit to transparency regarding the Epstein investigation and any related materials? Patel's answer was unequivocal. Senator, the American people deserve the truth. If there are files that can be released without compromising ongoing investigations or victims' privacy, I will release them. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. It was the right answer. It got him confirmed 52-48, with several Democrats voting yes based on that promise. But something changed after he took office. Within 2 weeks, Patel met privately with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. No official record of the meeting exists. It wasn't on his public schedule. But 3 sources told the Washington Post that Trump specifically discussed the Epstein situation with Patel during that meeting. What was said? No one knows for certain. But what happened next was revealing. On February 12, 2025, the FBI's New York field office prepared a memo recommending the release of redacted Epstein files. Names removed, but details about the investigation's scope and findings included. It was a compromise. Transparency without destroying innocent people. The memo went to FBI headquarters for director approval. It never came back. Instead, on February 19th, Patel's office issued a classified directive. All Epstein-related files were to be moved to a restricted access classification. Only the director and deputy director could authorize anyone to view them. Agents who had worked the case for years suddenly found themselves locked out of their own files. One agent, speaking anonymously to ProPublica, described it as unprecedented. "I've been with the Bureau for 23 years, he said. "I've never seen a director personally lock down files like this. It sends a clear message. Something in those files is being protected." The question was, what? Or more accurately, who? The congressman who wouldn't let it go, Thomas Massie, isn't your typical congressman. The Kentucky Republican is known for two things: his libertarian principles and his refusal to back down. He voted against his own party more than any other Republican. He opposed foreign aid, government surveillance, and anything that smacked of establishment protection. And he'd been obsessed with the Epstein case since 2019. Massie had filed over 30 FOIA requests seeking Epstein documents. He'd questioned 3 different FBI directors about the case. He'd introduced legislation requiring full disclosure of Epstein's contacts. His staff had compiled a 200-page dossier on the case, cross-referencing flight logs, phone records, and financial documents that were already public. When Patel took over the FBI, Massie saw an opportunity. Patel had promised transparency. Massie intended to hold him to it. He requested a meeting. Patel's office ignored him. He sent a formal letter. No response. He went to the media, calling Patel's silence suspicious. Still nothing. So Massie did what any frustrated congressman would do. He used his position on the House Judiciary Committee to force a public confrontation. The hearing that changed everything, May 8, 2025. FBI Oversight and Accountability hearing, scheduled for 2 hours. Standard procedure, budget questions, staffing issues, counterterrorism updates. Patel had testified before Congress multiple times. He was comfortable, confident. Then Massie got his turn to question. He didn't waste time with pleasantries. "Director Patel, during your confirmation hearing, you promised transparency on the Epstein files. It's been 4 months. Where are they?" Patel leaned into his microphone. "Congressman, the Epstein case involves sensitive victim information and ongoing—" "Ongoing what?" Massie interrupted. "Epstein's been dead for 6 years. His co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. What investigation is ongoing?" "I cannot discuss classified investigative matters in this setting." "Then let's discuss unclassified matters." Massie pulled out a document. This is a flight log from Epstein's plane, dated March 2016. It lists 7 passengers traveling from New York to Palm Beach. 6 of those names are already public. 1 is redacted in court filings. Do you know who that 7th passenger was? Patel's face didn't change. "I don't have flight manifests memorized, Congressman, but you have access to them. In fact, your office recently reclassified these documents to restrict access. Why?" "Standard security protocols." Massie wasn't buying it. He pulled out another document. This is an FBI memo from February 12th of this year, recommending the release of redacted Epstein files. It was prepared by the New York field office. It never received your approval. Why did you kill that memo, Director Patel? Silence. Patel's lawyer was frantically writing notes. "Let me ask you directly," Massie continued. "Have you personally reviewed the Epstein client list?" I've been briefed on materials related to... That's not what I asked. Have you, Kash Patel, personally seen the full unredacted list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Long pause. Yes. The admission hung in the air. Patel had just confirmed he'd seen something millions of Americans desperately wanted to see, and he was keeping it hidden. Massie leaned forward. How many names are on that list? I can't disclose that. Are any current government officials on that list? Patel's jaw tightened. I cannot answer that question. Cannot? Or will not? Congressman, there are legal and ethical considerations about protecting powerful people. Massie's voice rose. Director Patel, I have information from multiple sources that at least 3 names on that list are current members of the Trump administration. Can you deny that? The room went silent. Every camera was on Patel. His face had gone pale. I cannot confirm or deny. You can't deny it. Massie wasn't asking anymore. He was stating. You've seen the list. You know who's on it. And you're protecting them. That's why you locked down the files. That's why you killed the release memo. You're using the FBI to cover up for powerful friends. Patel stood up. Congressman, I resent the implication. Sit down, Director. Chairman Jim Jordan intervened. Mr. Massie, do you have evidence to support these accusations? Massie pulled out a third document. This is a whistleblower disclosure I received 2 days ago from an FBI agent who worked the Epstein case. It details a meeting on March 3, 2025, between Director Patel and 3 individuals whose names appear in Epstein's records. The meeting took place at FBI headquarters. It wasn't on the director's public schedule. And according to this agent, immediately after that meeting, Director Patel ordered even tighter restrictions on Epstein files. The room erupted in chaos. Democrats were shouting questions. Republicans were demanding to see the document. Journalists were filing breaking news alerts. Jordan banged his gavel. We'll take a 15-minute recess. But Massie wasn't done. As Patel stood to leave, Massie delivered the final blow. Director Patel, I'm formally requesting that you preserve all documents, emails, and communications related to Epstein files. If you've destroyed anything, that's obstruction. And I will refer you to the Justice Department for criminal prosecution. Patel walked out without answering. He never came back to finish the hearing. The 72 hours that followed. The whistleblower disclosure hit the internet within an hour. The document didn't name the 3 individuals who met with Patel, but it provided enough detail that investigative journalists immediately began digging. The New York Times identified one, a former White House counsel who had flown on Epstein's plane in 2017. The Washington Post identified another, a tech billionaire with close ties to Trump who appeared in Epstein's phone records over 100 times. The third name remained a mystery, but the damage was done. The story wasn't about Epstein anymore. It was about Patel. What was he hiding? Who was he protecting? And why? Trump initially defended him. Kash Patel is doing a fantastic job at the FBI. The Epstein stuff is a distraction. But behind the scenes, Trump's team was panicking. If those names leaked, if one of them was close to Trump, the political fallout would be catastrophic. On May 11th, just 3 days after the hearing, the Justice Department announced it was opening an inquiry into alleged improper handling of sensitive investigative materials by the FBI Director's Office. It was carefully worded, not quite a criminal investigation, but close enough to send a message. Republican senators began distancing themselves. We need answers, said Senator John Cornyn. If there's been a cover-up, that's unacceptable. Even Fox News turned on Patel. Tucker Carlson, usually a Trump ally, devoted an entire segment to demanding the Epstein list be released. Who are they protecting? He asked his audience. And why is the FBI hiding it? The resignation that wasn't, Patel didn't resign. He didn't hold a press conference. He didn't defend himself publicly. Instead, he went silent. For 2 weeks, he didn't appear at FBI headquarters. His deputies handled daily operations. Press inquiries went unanswered. Trump stopped mentioning him. Then, on May 24, 2025, the decision was made for him. The House Judiciary Committee voted to hold Patel in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with a subpoena for Epstein-related documents. The vote was bipartisan, 28-16. Even some Republicans voted yes. Trump called Patel to the White House. According to leaks, the conversation lasted less than 10 minutes. Trump told him he had 2 choices: resign voluntarily or be fired, and have the administration cooperate with congressional investigations. Patel chose option 1. On May 27, 2025, the White House released a 1-sentence statement. FBI Director Kash Patel has resigned, effective immediately, to pursue opportunities in the private sector. No explanation. No press conference. No thank you for his service. Just 1 sentence, and he was gone. The shortest FBI director tenure since William Sessions was fired by Bill Clinton in 1993. 133 days. The list that still hasn't been released, and the Epstein client list, still classified, still hidden, still protected. Patel's successor, appointed in June 2025, has promised to review all materials and make decisions based on law and evidence. Translation: don't hold your breath. Thomas Massie hasn't given up. He's filed new FOIA requests. He's introduced new legislation. He's called for a special prosecutor. But Washington has moved on. There's always a new scandal, a new crisis, a new distraction. The 173 names in Epstein's ledger remain secret, and the man who could have released them chose to protect them instead. One question from Thomas Massie, 3 minutes and 47 seconds. That's all it took to prove that some truths are too dangerous to tell, and some people are too powerful to expose.